Bluff City Media presents the Two Bucks Sports Show. Stepping up to the microphone are your hosts, Drew Gann and Rusty Witten. Now, let's get to the show.
Everybody, welcome to your Thursday edition of the Two Bucks Sports Show, live on your lunch break. I'm your co-host, as always, Rusty Buckets, and I'm super excited about the guests we have today. Everybody's favorite Memphis Grizzlies commentator, P. Pranica and Brevin Knight. Brevin Knight's on the show with us today, and I've got my guy, Drew Gann, here, man. How's it going, buddy?
Man, it's good. It is good. You know, it's a good day. It's a good day. I'm super excited to get to Brevin, and we're going to get to him just right around the corner. But just a good rainy Thursday, just hanging out inside all day at work, just coming in and talking to one of my two favorite Grizzlies sideline commentators. So We'll get to it. Rusty, I don't want to keep him waiting. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Oh, come on, put him on the screen.
I'm coming.
There he is. There he is.
BK, what's up?
What's up? Y'all trying to leave me backstage too long, man.
I know.
I was trying to get through security to get up here, man.
It is Rusty. Rusty is security, and so he's got fat fingers sometimes. Man, I'm gonna tell you, BK. This is, they always say don't meet your heroes. And for people that watch the Grizzlies for 82 years, it feels like you're like a member of the family. My son recognizes yours and Pete's voices. Like, oh, the Grizzlies are playing. He knows it from the kitchen because we hear you.
It's an honor.
Man.
I can tell you, it's an honor to be thought of in that way. And when you say, look, Petey's been here 19 years, I think. Mm-hmm. I've been here now 16 seasons. And the cool part, but for me, it's also the playing here. So it is those first 2 years of the team being here, of people being excited and coming out and watching, and now listening to me. They say, we get people that say, no, we pretty much grown up with you. Now, on one hand, that's like, oh, that's cool. But you know what that means on the other hand, that means Petey ass is old.
Yeah. BK, look, man, I'm going to be honest with you. I was a freshman in high school when the Memphis Grizzlies came to town, and I remember coming watching you play in the Pyramid. I've been a fan since the 96 draft when Bryant Reeves was picked up in the expansion draft. And so I have a reversible Bryant Reeves jersey still at my dad's house.
Ooh, that's a big fan.
When the Grizz came to Memphis, I was beside myself. And so that kind of comes to our first question for you. Like, why Memphis? You played here. You played on a few teams. What made you decide to come back to Memphis and join the broadcast team for the Grizz?
Well, first off, I would say the opportunity presented itself because of our original owner, Michael Heisley, and God rest his soul. He and I forged a very good relationship when I was playing here. Don't ask me how. And I think a lot of it, when we always would sit and talk about it in the summer, it would be just because definitely we came, of course, we're different in terms of cultural, but we were the same in terms of we still had to bust our behinds to get where we were. He was a self-made billionaire, I think, at one point. So I think that never changed. And I always tell people this one thing. We were in Kiowa Island and we went out to dinner. He had his family, I had my family. And we went to a restaurant that was, you look at the menus, these are restaurants I don't like. When you look at the menu and I don't know half of the shit on the menu. I don't know.
I'm with you.
I don't know. I can't even say the words. I don't know what all this stuff underneath means. I'm pulling out my phone to Google and see what is that. And so we looked at each other and like, man, this is not us. And so we left our families at the restaurant, and he and I went to a sports bar and just had regular food and watched TV. And so I say that was how I even got here, because for him it was, he wanted a former player. Sean Tui was doing the games. He was moving on because of the blind side and all that they had to do with that. And so he wanted a former player. He asked me to come in. I had just retired 1 year. I did the radio for the Bobcats for home games because we were living in Charlotte, and I just wanted to be at home for a year. And then the next year, I came here. And the thing about Memphis for me was it felt the same way as when I came here to play. It was, people love basketball, which was dear to my heart. And it was a city that had a lot of pride about itself. And so those two factors, it made me feel like this was home. And so it has become I'm always going to be a Jersey kid. But then right behind that becomes I'm a Memphis boy now. And so I thank everybody that are true Memphians, that they accepted me and my family. And so now being honorary Memphians, I don't see myself being anywhere but here.
Yeah. I think that comes through so well, BK, because you seem like a guy on the broadcast that you just want to go have a beer with. It's not like the uptown dude. Like you and Pete, I just know that if I see you out in town, we could just go have a beer. And it comes through.
I'm gonna tell you this much though, Drew. I gotta have Tito's with lemonade.
Hey.
That's I can't do the beer, but I would definitely have a Tito's and lemonade with you just fine.
Well,
Noted.
We're Mississippians, as always. We assume beer.
Yeah, that's it, man. We've been drinking Busch Light since middle school, so don't worry about us.
That's awesome. I love hearing that. Basketball, like you get into it, you're kind of a journeyman, and I remember, and this ad always played for the longest time on Bluff City Media commercials. It was you talking to Sane, talking about playing for that logo, doing what you got to do to keep that logo on your team.
Yes.
And so for you, you are a traveler. Did you know there's only one player under 6 foot in the NBA today?
It's Yuki. Listen, know how I know? Because every time I stand down the court, now we're doing a pregame show, and I look around and say, Jesus. This would have been tough if I had to play it this time.
Yeah. So what do guys like me and you have to do to get in the NBA today?
Well, listen. I tell everybody that if you're a winner, there is nothing bigger than someone who's a winner. And I would hope that as GMs and pro personnel people, as they watch guys, whether they be college, whether it's someone that's international, however, that the bottom line is this person a good player? Would they help our team win? And would they not be a problem off of the court?
Yeah.
And so I think a lot of times guys of this side just get pigeonholed in that because you're that size, you can't do this or you can't do that. And so I just would hope that we would not have such a closed mind to say that the NBA has to be one size. Everyone has to be tall. Everyone has to be athletic. They got to be, but there can be variations of players. Right. And for those guys who are undersized, don't feel as though you can't make it. You defeat yourself with that mindset. And that was the one thing that I told myself I wasn't going to do. I wasn't going to get any bigger, but I knew that I could affect the game in a positive way. And that's where I carried myself every night. But I also knew I had to compete at the highest level because there was always going to be the asterisk of he's only 5'10".
If you'd never wanted to be the guy that they look at only on paper and just be like,
Exactly.
I feel like that's what the NBA, as analytical and as spreadsheet driven as it is all about measurables. And you look at young guys that spend 1 year in college or in the G League and they don't play well, they get drafted solely on measurables and potential. And so I think that's really cool that you are a winner.
Listen, the thing is, there's a lot of people out here who will probably be able to jump higher, who are going to be taller. But do you understand the nuances of the game? Are you not going to be a problem when you don't play in this game? And now you get there's so many other factors that go into what makes an individual good that ultimately makes your team good, because it's still a team game.
Yeah, for sure. And coming from a guy who is the all-time leader in assists and steals at Stanford, doing the little things well matter, right? So TJ, Taylor Jenkins, has said, if you want minutes as a rookie, you do the little things well. And so kind of talk to us about what you've seen from the rookie Jalen Wells, who has stepped up in so many ways for this team and kind of mimics you, doing the little things well, the hustle plays. What are your thoughts on Jalen so far?
Oh, well, Jalen, he's been a revelation for this team. And that we thought coming into this year, you had your defensive stopper in Vince Williams Jr. And with the injuries, he was out. And so there was a void of needing a very good wing defender. And Jalen has been terrific at being to step up and defend different type players, whether it has been, yes, your prototypical wing, but we saw him play Jalen Brunson, have to be on point guards. We seen him, and sometimes when you play against a bigger player, he may have to switch and do that. And so his versatility on the defensive side has been there. The other thing I like about him, and it's kind of twofold, is that he's not afraid to stick his face in there. He's not afraid to be physical in the defense. Conversely, though, he takes a lot of hits to the face. Because
He
it's
does.
hard.
He does.
He goes through every screen face first.
Yeah, exactly. And so I think that the defensive side, it was nice to be able to find somebody who you could say can be a lockdown defender for you. But then you go on the offensive end. I think he's a rookie leading scorer in terms, and he's shooting the ball extremely well from the 3-point line still. And the thing is, there are going to be some games where he's going to shoot it great. There's going to be some games where it may just be in the middle in terms of, or there may be a game where he doesn't, but it's not solely predicated on how many points he scores as to say how successful this team will be. And so he's a guy who started out at Sonoma State, got an opportunity to go to Washington State. And what a lot of people know, his senior year at Washington State, he didn't start the entire year. It was still a starting some coming off the bench. And so he's a guy who understands that he has to work for everything that he's going to get, but he has a skill set that fits this basketball team, and it was something that was much needed.
Yeah.
Real quick, we're going to talk about like what the Grizzlies need right now, but we brought Jalen Wells he's a Pac-12 guy.
Yes,
You're
he
a
is.
Pac-12 guy. Are you now an ACC guy, or are you just going to just continue to remember the fondness of what was?
No, I call all of those schools still Pac-12 schools. So when they play, it's still Pac-12. So it's very funny to me to be sitting around. Last night I watched Stanford beat Syracuse.
Yeah, good win.
And see, the thing for me is Syracuse is Big East because that's where I grew up. They were Big East, Seton Hall, Syracuse, Georgetown, Boston College. Like that was what I was accustomed to seeing. So to see both of these schools, Stanford being in the ACC and watching Syracuse play in the ACC. It messes with my mind, and so I tend to just keep it with what you were for what the feelings that I have, and so I root all of the schools that left from the Pac-12 that are playing now. I still say, look at how good the Pac-12 was from the football year to now basketball.
Absolutely,
yeah, that's so weird. We're big football guys, and I can't imagine like. It seems so weird to have a Stanford-Miami conference game. It just doesn't make sense.
You can say that. You can say that again.
That's a long
playing a Florida school. You just played Florida State. You just played Miami, Florida State. You just played those teams, and so it's definitely weird and something that we have to get used to. And because we had gotten so used to, the teams were always two in the state. Like you were gonna play. We played Thursday, Sunday, or Wednesday, Saturday, we would play. You're going to go to Arizona, you play Arizona, Arizona State, Oregon, Oregon State, Washington, Washington State. And really, if you want the truth, I still like to say Pac-10 because I didn't think Colorado and Utah fit what the conference was made to be. But hey, now there's a Pac-2 going on right now. And they're trying to see what teams they can get to make it a conference again.
And I know Memphis is on that short list that they keep coming up as a team that could join, so we could have those connections again. I know you're on a time crunch, so we do want to get some of your thoughts on what do you see from the Grizzlies that we need, right? Like, obviously, health, we definitely need that. Is there, like, position needs or, like, things that you're seeing that you think the Grizz could do to improve our chances this year?
I think the biggest thing is continuity. And a lot of that is, it's nice to be able to have our big three playing together. And try to get as much as they can get of that tandem playing. And then there's going to come a time where I think as you get these guys healthy, that they'll start to settle into a more normal rotation. I think while guys were in and out of the lineup, you're kind of just mixing and matching in some way. You're still with a new offense that's happening. You got some new guys on the staff. There's some trial and error that I think they went through. But as you start to now really start fighting for playoff positioning and different things of that nature, then I think we'll start to see a little bit more of continuity within the lineups as long as guys stay healthy. The thing is, we got another guy that's going to join the lineup here sooner than later, which is Vince Williams Jr. And the reality is you cannot play 12 people in NBA games. And so I think that'll all work itself out, but it's a good problem to have when you have a lot of players and you can do situational basketball, maybe from game to game. But I just think the biggest thing is just having as many guys that you want to have in your normal rotation play that many games. So when you get to the playoffs, there's no trying to figure it out. You're already in that rhythm.
Well, let me ask you this. It seems like, especially after the Knicks game, there has been one you hear just the offense. Everything is the hot button issue all season long has been the offense. Does it work? Does it not work? It works against bad teams. It doesn't seem to work against good teams. Do we have an offense problem? I've called it on our show the communist offense because it elevates everybody below the stars and it kind of seems to dampen the stars and just create like an equal playing field. Is that how you see it? Do we have a problem with the offense in relation to Ja, or is it just like you said, continuity?
Well, I think the biggest issue is that can you find some things within the game that allows him to be at his best? Because I say this every day: we're not winning a championship without Ja Morant being Ja Morant.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's just the reality of it. The skills that he has and what he can do is unmatched. And so there has to be a conversation of what can we do that helps you be you. But there also has to be, but how do you also play within these other guys that have gotten better? Because the thing is, Jaren Jackson Jr. has elevated his game. Desmond Bane is still playing. I kind of liken Desmond Bane. I tell a lot of people this too. The Milwaukee Bucks, number 22. They're shooting guard.
Middleton.
Chris Middleton.
I liken to a Chris Middleton, which is all-star talent, a guy that helps you win games, but he's also going to play next to the superstar guy who then and John is like Giannis in that place,
right?
Who that's their role. But they need each other in order to be good. And I think that's what our team, they just have to figure out how do you still be able to allow our big three and the other guys who have done well, because what makes them good is the way the ball moves, the way that their bodies move. And then there just comes instances where in the game where there are plays and situations where your higher level players then take over the basketball game. But I think that you can do both. It doesn't have to be one way or the other. I think you play through the body of the game one way, and then when the game slows down, you get to the fourth quarter. We all know what happens. It's going to be in your best players' hands. They're going to make they're going to make the play. The only difference now is we have more to call on than just one person. And for the longest time, we had to just rely on, if you can do it, we'll be good. But right now, it's like, we're going to need you. We can't do it without you, but you have help. Yeah. So I think that's why I say the continuity and the balance of doing it more and more will at least allow everyone a level of comfort on the floor.
Yeah. I know you're on the time because, like I said, I got one last question for you.
No, go ahead. I'm good. No rush.
All right, good deal. The next one I got, man, like for me, I'm a huge Memphis Grizzlies fan. It's all over most of my wardrobe. I'm diehard, but I do like watching the Orlando Magic. And so is there a team that you like to watch outside of the Grizz? Like I like Banchero's game and what they're doing, and Jamal Mosley's a great coach, but are there other teams that you're watching right now that you kind of got your eye on?
Man, this is an unfortunate, but of course I watch the Cleveland Cavaliers because JB Bickerstaff is still a very dear friend of mine. Listen, I've been watching this Houston Rockets team, and I've been watching them not just this year. As soon as they got Ime Udoka is when the antenna went up for me, because I feel like he's a guy that has been able to. He played the game and he's coaching the game the same way he played it, and his players have taken on that same mentality.
Yeah,
but they have the players that already had that mentality. It just is able to come out with him, and so the mentality mixed with the talent that they have. It's a fun watch. The other team that I hate to say I watch is I watch the Knicks, and that's just because being back from home and so many friends and so many people talk about it. And unfortunately, they're fun to watch, and I can't stand it. But it's a reality. But so I would say outside of the Grizzlies, those would be the other teams that I have tuned in. And the crazy part about that is the only one of them is a Western Conference team. Like the other Western Conference teams, I think we see on such a regular basis. We know them. It's like, okay, they're good. But the Orlando Jamal Moore, that's a big one with Orlando because Jamal's done a great job, and they had to go through 2 major injuries, but still kept themselves viable with what they do. And they play. Listen, they got a superstar, but they have some other guys in Wagner, who is a budding star. You got Banchero. But then they also have a bunch of other guys who are role guys who are very influential. It's the same as our team. We can't be successful if our role guys, Ashanti's not going to be good, if Luke's not going to be good, if Scott, like go down the list of the guys. those guys weren't able to do what they've done so far, we wouldn't be where we are right now.
Yeah, I think it's interesting what you said about when I think of head coaches and identities and how many coaches today actually bring their own identity and not, metrics or.
Oh, he froze on us there.
He was going good too.
That's it, man. That's it, man. But you're right. Like Udoka brought an edge to that Rockets team, and I think Jamal Mosley is putting his fingerprint on that Magic team, just like Taylor Jenkins has our team through analytics, through hustle, through defensive effort. Talk about what you've seen in his growth over his journey as the head coach for the Grizzlies.
Well, the thing I say for Taylor, and I said it from day one, a sign of a good coach is when you can get your guys to play hard every night.
Mm-hmm.
The biggest thing in the NBA is can you get everyone to play hard every night? And I think he's done a good job of doing just that. He's also done a great job of being able to be flexible.
Right.
Because he has not had the big three the entire time. They've had to mix and match. They've had to figure out what works and what doesn't work. And then last season, there was an entire season where the injuries just demoralized the whole season. But there were silver linings. They got Jaren the basketball more so that he can have the confidence to do what he's doing this year. Dez handled the ball more. Luke Kennard did more with the basketball. We got the emergence of Gigi, Vince Williams Jr. So last year was a loss in terms of the wins. We didn't make it to the playoffs.
Right.
That's not what we're accustomed. But there were a lot of wins that are now paying dividends now.
Agreed. We've got mature Jaren now, who's an absolute bucket that teams continue to guard him one-on-one, and it just blows my mind. It's like they're just trying to give this guy an all-NBA nod. But we got a lot of folks in the comments. I do want to throw up. I got a great Grizzlies trivia question for you, BK. What are the two categories that you still lead the Memphis Grizzlies in all time per 100 possessions? Do you know what it is?
Curses. Say curse words.
That's fair. That's probably fair.
I got a talk back button that I wear out during games.
I believe it.
That's very good for me. Per 100 possessions, I mean, to me, it had to be something around the same with the assists and steals.
Nailed it, man. Nailed it. So it's assists at 13.5 per 100 possessions, and then steals at 3.7 100 possessions. Shout out to DG, our resident Grizz trivia expert. 538 assists in 108 games played. That is just a phenomenal effort leading this team. And so talking about that, man, with Ja Morant's growth, he used to be like that demon time bucket, right? We're not seeing the 40, 45 point games anymore. We're seeing more triple doubles out of Ja Morant as he's taken a leadership role in facilitating the basketball. What do you think is attributing to that? Is it the offense? Is it Ja's game maturing? What are your thoughts on Ja's growth as a point guard?
I mean, he continues to grow. This is going to be we're not seeing the evolution of Ja Morant at all. We're seeing every year an added level to it. And the reason why those numbers aren't the 40, 45s is, like I said before, the team is better. He had to do those things in order for us to have success. It's not the same level as what it used to be. And so for him, I think it is the understanding that maybe my individual numbers won't be as high, but my numbers will be more impactful. So those triple doubles may not be 40, 15, 10. They may be 20, 12, 13. It may be along those numbers, but those will lead to wins. And I think it's incumbent for him to be able to figure out with this new offense, how it's playing, how can I find success with that, with how playing with everyone? And then when it comes time for me to have the plays that are better for me, what are those plays? When do we run it? But I think it's also, I always say, I think for Ja, as he continues to move forward, is believing in the mid-range jump shot, believing in that little getting into the paint for that floater, to eliminate some of the contact that you're taking every time you go to the basket. And because if they're able to figure out the screening, who's going to be the screener that's going to get them open, when he comes off of those screens, now where do I find my players? But he'll be able to be open around that free throw line to the top of the dotted line that's in the painted area whenever he would want to. And so if he can just incorporate that shot, I think a little bit more into this game, I think it'll just help him move forward. It'll help him be able to have the finishes at the rim a lot easier than what he's having to face at this point.
Yeah, agreed. So as I get Drew, looks like Drew's back in the green room. I do want to ask you this, let you be thinking about this as I pull him back up. Luke Hatmaker of our network's Daily Grind Morning Show asks, what current role player do you think echoes your game? Grizzlies, non-Grizzlies? Who do you think plays the most like BK?
I would say the kid in Indiana that comes off of the bench. The little short, the McConnell.
Andrew Nembhard.
No, McConnell.
McConnell.
Oh, McConnell.
CJ McConnell. I would say if I had to say someone that was similar, I would say that was similar. A guy who's going to be a mid-range jump shooter. He's going to be a pest on the defensive side, pushes the ball well, gets himself into the painted area, makes plays for his teammates. He's one of those guys who's never going to be the name that people are going to say when you say, "Oh, who are some of the good players in the NBA?" You're never going to hear someone say TJ McConnell. But
Yeah.
when you watch him play. I mean, I'm saying from maybe from true basketball fans, but just from
Like a nerd, basketball nerds, yeah.
Exactly, but from your
Sort of
casual,
white guy.
but for casual, I say for casual fans,
Right.
it's not a name that people are gonna relate to a lot. But when you watch him play, his influence is undeniable. When
love
he's
that,
on the
man.
floor.
You're right, because he is a hustle guy in the tune of Brevin Knight. I got one more for you, BK, and then I'll turn it over to Drew for a couple questions. But shout out to all the people in the comments. Kenny, DG, Luke. We've had Marcus. We've had several guys popping in. Now we've got one Sharon Brown of Twitter Grizz fame. She's got a question for you. She wants you to give your case as to why Tripp should be an all-star. Why is Jaren an all-star this year?
First off, we're third place in the Western Conference. Nobody thought this Grizzlies team would be there with the amount of injuries that we have endured this year. And the consistent theme the entire time has been Jaren Jackson Jr. And it's been on both ends. Offensively, he's dominated from the mid post into the painted area. I think he's averaging 12 or 13 points a game in the painted area. He shoots the three, whether it's off the dribble, it is in transition. He's a trail big. He knocks it down. And then he gets to the free throw line, and he is an excellent free throw shooter. You go on the defensive side, he continues to be one of the tops in stocks, which is steals and blocks. He was always big in blocks, but this year, what he's done a better job of, he's gotten active with his hands. And I think a lot of it is because he's been in different situations defensively whether they are switching when they're coming off screens, whether that he is just doing a good job of being the help rotation defender. His impact on the game is twofold. Offensively, he is dominant when you play him one-on-one. If they double, he's done a great job of finding guys. And on the defensive side, he blocks, he steals, he alters shots. And so because of that and the success that the team has had, a direct reflection for him, I think it's a no-brainer that he should be an all-star this year.
Yeah, we'll find out tonight as the reserves are announced on TNT later tonight.
Yeah, BK, listen, I've been following you a long time, obviously, and one of the first things that I got in on, and I started following you hardcore on this, and you're going to think it's crazy, but I bought my first home a couple years ago, and I have had the worst time growing grass. And I have followed you religiously on Twitter about how to fix the grass in your yard. And I've always said, I was like, if I ever get the chance, this is before we had a podcast or anything, that if I ever get the chance to talk to Brevin, I'm going to have to ask him, like, tell him that his yard looks great, and like, how do you do it?
Well, first off, I'll tell you, first off, thank you. Secondly, I have to say to my parents, as much as I told you I was a big curse person, as much as I cursed them when I was younger for having to cut the grass every Saturday, and for the most part, it was me and my mom, because my dad would be working. My brother's 6 years younger than me, so he always had the excuse that he really didn't know how to do it. So it was my mom and I.
We had younger brothers.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
They act like they can't do it. I got to be the baby. I can't.
Exactly. My house, man. My house.
Brandon, if you're watching, I'm sorry. But and so I did a lot of yard work when I was younger. And when I always said, I will not do any yard work if I ever have the means to let someone else do it.
Right.
And then when we moved, and so then I got to the house and I saw how much I was paying these people to do my lawn. I said, "Oh hell no!" So what you don't know about me, I am cheap. I do not like to waste.
I can appreciate that.
I don't waste no money. I do not like doing that. So I said,
we know, Brevin.
We know.
We're right
remember
there.
where we met. We met in the Grist Den, and the 12-year NBA veteran was complaining about having to buy his kid clothes.
And we were in the same boat. We commiserated over prices. One of us.
We see eye to eye. Yeah. But yeah, no. So and then when I got to do it, it had been so long. I was like, everybody's like, well, you should use an electric mower. I was like, bro, I'm not walking around with a lawnmower plugged in. Because for me, I remember electric being when you push, you used to plug it in, and that was used with that orange cord, and that was how you did it. But now they got the batteries that you put in to be able to do it. So now I'm a steel product lover. I have everything steel at our house, and I just it's for me it's kind of it's a getaway. It's almost like meditation to be out there, and I like to see things go from one way to another. Like I'm a big begin. It looked like this, and now look at what it looks like. And so it's just, I mean, it's joy. I never thought I would be saying this. I never thought I would be taking videos of my grass. Look how I edged it today. I never thought that would be me, but I have a lot of joy in the summer doing it.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Hey, question for you. So you travel a lot for work, right? So you're home taking care of your yard in the summer, but you travel a lot for work. What are some of the best arenas that you like going to, the places you like to travel the most? Like, are there certain like spots that you like, hey, I can't wait to go to Portland, or obviously maybe New Jersey back home, but what are your favorite road destinations?
Well, the favorite arena, of course, is going to Madison Square Garden. I mean, it's to get there. I tell people, number one, we sit on we sit on the court across, like TNT does their games on the floor across from the score. That's how we sit every game. And the other thing is I get to sit 3 people over from Walt Clyde Frazier every time we go there. Walt, I just look over and I get to say, hey, Walt, we get to talk every night.
Looking wild too. Walt is the top 2 dresser.
Him and Fish, boy, they get together.
Him and Fish.
I know very much so that is not my crowd. But so that is and it's a fantastic place to call a basketball game, being there. But then I enjoy going to Toronto. I think Toronto is such a fun city. I love it's a melting pot of cultures. They got everybody's there. The restaurants are fantastic. And then I love any city that the weather is nice.
Absolutely.
So I love Phoenix, Orlando, Miami, LA. All those are the cities I love, and it's for one reason. Get to go to the golf course.
Yeah, man after my own heart. I love that.
So I think that is how I pretty much go about my at this age, at this time in my life. It is those 2 cities, Toronto, New York, are just hubs for me. And then whatever warm weather. Oh, the Texas, Houston, Dallas. Those are San Antonio. Oh, San Antonio is my other. Forget the golf. I know a lot of people make fun of it. Charles Barkley did his thing. I love San Antonio. And I think it's because I think I'm a small town. I'm a small city person, which is I call Memphis a big town.
Yeah.
But you get you get any and everything you want. We get Broadway shows. You get whatever tour comes to FedEx Forum. We get an opportunity we see that. So we may not have all of the high rises, and we may not have the restaurants that still open to. We may not have all of those amenities, but we are able to do whatever we would like. And so San Antonio is one of those places. I love the food. The people are cool, and they have plenty of golf courses to play.
What's your handicap right now?
Right now I'm an 8, and I am a true 8. We'll get to the summer. I hover around 6, 7 in the summertime. But I'm going to have to do some work this year because I've got a lot of people that all of a sudden like to play for money. We used to just play for fun. I remember those days. It used to be fun. Like we used to go out there and play against the course. Now
that's me, man. It's me versus the course. I ain't trying to play for money. Ain't no way.
People, we get out here, they're like, hey, we're going to play. I said, let me try to tell y'all something. I'm not trying to make a living out here, and I ain't losing no living. So if y'all want to play a little 10-10-10 game, we know what, one day I might feel good and say we play a 20-20-20. But when people start talking about we're going to play $100 a hole, I'm like, bro, that's not for me. Yeah, that's not fun. Like the course is hard enough for me in and of itself. And that's a challenge for me. Like some people just feel like they need. My thing is like, don't try to. If your game isn't good enough, don't try to make the money make your game be better. That is what you're doing.
I'd be divorced if I put money on golf because I wouldn't make a dime. And I've never seen a course I could beat. You know, the home course where Rusty and I grew up in Kossuth, Mississippi, has sand bunkers in the middle of the greens, and I still don't do well. So,
that's a new one there.
Yeah, is Pete Pranica like the swaggiest dude with the horseshoe haircut you've ever met in your life?
Pete is my boy, man. Me and Pete talk about this all the time. I said, see, I quit. I said, no, what, man? The fight is over.
We're getting there. We're getting close.
Yeah, the fight is over. Once I started lining up my hair and then be like, hey, don't touch this corner until the next shot. When I come back the next time, I think we can touch this corner, but don't touch it right now.
That's where I'm at, man. I get it.
That's when I knew it was time to just cut it all off. And with Pete, I'm just waiting. I tell Pete, you know what I tell him sometimes? He gets closer. When he gets that nice short buzz on it around here, I'm like, Petey, you just one more guard away, buddy.
Right.
Go ahead and zip it off.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny. Man, Brevin, I'm so glad you came and joined us today. This has been so much fun.
No, listen, man, we had y'all, you guys were $2. I was like, no, we might as well make it $3.
Yes, sir. You're an honorary forever member of the Bucks tribe, the Bucks family here, man. We appreciate you, BK. Thank you for taking time to chat with us. We won't keep you any longer, man. You have been awesome. This is great. Thanks for answering questions from the crowd, BK, man. Like, seriously, dude, this is awesome, man. Thank you. Yeah. Again, guys, like Drew said earlier, don't meet your heroes. Meet Brevin Knight. When we ran into him in the gift shop, he talked to us like we were his peer, even though we're two just good old boys from Mississippi who have no business being on a show like this. But we appreciate you taking time to hang with us, man.
Man, no, you guys have a great day. Keep doing a great job. And hopefully I'll see you and your nephews at the game again. That was good to see them that day.
It was awesome, man. I tell you, like my younger brother, when he was driving him home, he said that the youngest one, Finn, fell asleep holding that basketball, and he hadn't let go of it since, man. It means a lot, too. So thank you for signing those for them, for sure, man.
No, not a problem, man. Y'all have a good one.
All right, BK. We'll see you, buddy. Be good.
All right, now.
Dude.
Well, I mean, like, Wayno right here says it, man. BK is awesome. I mean, just incredible dude. Love BK. Thank you for being here, man. What an awesome interview. Shy, we are from Northeast Mississippi. We're from the Corinth area, the hills of North Mississippi. Though I did live in Grenada for a little while, kind of close to your neck of the woods there in the Delta. But we are proud of our state where we're from. We love being from Mississippi, and it's awesome to hear that you're from there as well. We love our native Mississippians on here for sure.
Yeah. Mama, I made it. You know, this is it's hard not to, and I know we're still live, but we're just gonna like have our conversation right now. Yeah. Like for everybody who's been with us for a long time, like, do we appreciate it? I don't get it, but we started this little thing 2 years ago, and where we just talked about our own personal fantasy football league and whatever popped in our head, and somehow it lasted 3 hours most nights, and somehow turned that a year ago into a deal with Bluff City Media. And a year later, we got BK. And I feel like I could probably just hang it up. I mean, what are we doing? Such a treat talking to BK. And I came on the show, Rusty and I did, right after we met him the first time. And I was just like, dude, like, you don't just run in. I mean, he's shopping for his kids. Memphis Hustle. I mean, not Memphis Hustle. Memphis Sounds gear in the Grizz Den with all of us commoners. And I just walked up and like, BK, what's up? And we sat down and it's like, what a dude. Like, couldn't be. He's a friend. I will forever be like, yeah, Brevin Knight's my friend.
Yeah. I mean, that's it. Like, he just treats you like a peer. And for that, we're forever grateful for BK. But Drew, we do have a game tonight that BK will unfortunately not be calling, because one other real quick sidebar, we have the best duo in all of the NBA. I've watched some other local broadcasts. I've watched some national broadcasts. Nobody comes close to BK and Pete. They are just like top two, not number two when it comes to talking about games. But tonight we are on national television with an 8:30 Central tip against the Houston Rockets. As BK was saying earlier, a team who has defined themselves with an edge and toughness and hard-nosed athleticism. And we have a chance tonight to completely wipe away all the bad memories from Monday night. Like Monday was as bad as we could be. And if we go out and beat Houston tonight, it's like, what happened, right? We got a chance to hit reset. What do you think we need to do to make that happen tonight, Drew?
Well, I think you just have to hit reset. And I was telling you personally on the phone calls, like I feel like an extra day break after that Knicks game can either make it go one of two ways. I'm kind of glad we had it because you stew in that. You just went to Madison Square Garden. You got boat raced. It was embarrassing. It was embarrassing for Ja. You know, he came home and deleted his Twitter. And I mean, all this other kind of stuff. Like you took it personally and it was clear that you did. And so when you're met with that sort of embarrassment, the sort of failure in a one-game series span, it's like you've only got two options. You either respond strong, you build yourself back up, you bow your neck, and you just go at it again and give it your best shot, or you fold. And I do not believe that this team is a team that's going to fold as a whole. Like I do believe that you're going to get the best shot from the Grizzlies tonight. The problem is like your best shot from the Grizzlies, this Houston team is just a horrible matchup. Like it's athletes, they're long, they're fast, they want to run, and we've just not matched up well with them. It is at home. We'll play them well. I believe it will be a close game, and I believe that the Grizzlies are going to have a shot to win it.
And I think, this team has a lot of pride. We have a lot of guys that do play hard. Twitter's been a dark place since Monday, and so I'm glad that Ja and Jake, some of these guys tuned it out. But tonight is an opportunity to right that ship. There's no quit in this team. Yeah, Monday night was ugly. We quit. We laid down. It wasn't great. But what we've seen in the past has been resilient. You remember the Brooklyn game? Ja was like, oh, you want me to see me play? We'll see you tomorrow night. And he went for a triple-double the next night. We got a big win. And so Ja can show up. I know he's listed with some shoulder surgery. I really don't think, or soreness. I really don't think he's going to miss tonight because we need him. Memphis was a 5.5-point favorite. The line has moved to 4.5 now since the Ja news. So Vegas is trending towards Memphis. I think this is one of the things that kind of sets us apart from Houston. Houston has a strong identity. I think we're 50-something games into the season, and we're still trying to find ours. We're still trying to, like BK said, we're still trying to implement this new offense. We're still trying to find Ja's way in it and who can step up besides Jaren, as Wayno said a few minutes ago. But I think tonight could be a good identity-forming game. You go and you beat a good Houston team who's had your number all year, and you can right that ship in a heartbeat. But who is going to be that guy to step up? Jaren is a bucket. He's getting his numbers right now. Dez has been better lately. But who's going to be that other guy? Is it Jalen Wells? Is tonight a GG coming out game? Like, we need somebody besides our stars to step up and carry the mantle and help us to win this game tonight.
Yeah, see, I disagree. I don't think you need anybody other than your stars. You need help. But I'm not looking. I'm just looking for the other guys not to suck. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But these games, and I want the games to be decided by the big three. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't want the game to be decided by Santi or by BC or by Kennard or Conchar. Like,
and that's all I'm asking for. I'm not asking for them to win the game for us. I'm asking for them to carry the mantle when Ja's on the bench, when Jaren's on the bench. Because what we saw against the Knicks is it was bad all the way around. And there's been nights when the starters haven't had it, and we've had to rely on our bench, and they've stepped up some nights and they haven't. I need them to keep us afloat in the minutes when we don't have Ja and or Dez and or Jaren on the floor. Now, tonight, we need to stagger those cats where at least one of them is on the floor at all times. We need other guys to step up around them. Yes.
Bane does not need to be on the court.
Unless it's in the first quarter. Bane tends to do well in the first and third quarter when he's the only one on the floor.
I just don't want him dribbling the ball.
Crunch time, we need Jaren and or Ja on the court with him.
Yeah, I just don't want him dribbling the ball. So, it's a national televised game. It's on TNT. It's the late game. We've not done well in nationally televised games, and we're coming off of a pretty embarrassing, though not a nationally televised game against the Knicks, a high-profile game because it was in Madison Square Garden. And so respond back. That's all I'm asking for. Give forth the effort. Be tough. And it may not be physically tough, but be mentally tough. Don't let this thing go off the rails. Be able to get, take the bad calls that you think and flush it and go on to the next. Like, be mentally tough in this game. That's what I'm looking for the most.
Yeah. Last thing I want to ask you about before we wrap up with our Before We Talk Again segment, Drew. Adam Silver came out this week and said that he would like to see the NBA transition to 10-minute quarters, which is what the WNBA plays, what you see at a high school level. It's what college is, right? It's 2 20-minute halves, aka, they play the halves, but it's 4, 10-minute periods. What do you think? What are your thoughts on that? Is that something the NBA should consider? Is that just another goofy way to try and get more ad revenue? P.S. it is. But what are your thoughts on the 10-minute quarters?
I think it's garbage. I think it's stupid. Everything is so worried about, and they're going to package this. I'm just going to tell you what they're going to do. They're worried about attention spans and game lengths, and that's what they did in college football. It's like, oh, we're going to do away with the first down stoppage of the clock so that the game moves quicker. Well, then they just put in more ads,
more commercials.
Yeah, so don't think that if they reduce this game by 2 minutes or 8 minutes, that you're going to actually get a shorter game. They're just going to extend the commercial breaks. They're going to go to commercial more often. I hate it. That also, I think they're worried about just wear and tear. But, like, listen, these are professional athletes. Like, they play 12 minutes. Do not and just for the record, like, I'm okay with shortening the games. Like, I love what Major League Baseball did. But that's not what this is. This is something different. I don't like it. I don't want to reset the record books, by taking 8 minutes off the clock. You're going to have to asterisk everything. Everybody's stats are going to be smaller and on a per season basis, at least, not a per game, but or even a per game basis, with a shortening of a game. So
right. And I don't either. Again, it ain't broke. Don't fix it. All it is for more ad money. He said he wants it to fit in a 2-hour time slot because that fits better for TV audiences.
Quit calling so many fouls.
Thank you. I was just about to say, how about we start with some accountability on the referees to stop being so focused and being the focus point of games, right? Quit calling me daggum fouls, let them play.
Yeah, replays should be timed. You get 2 minutes or a minute. If you can't see that the call needs to be changed in a minute, then it is inconclusive.
That's it.
Move on.
Then the call stands. So absolutely right. But we do have a few things to talk about before our next show on Tuesday. Right, after action tonight against the Houston Rockets, the Grizzlies will play 2 more times before our show on Tuesday. Sunday night, another big matchup against the Milwaukee Bucks, who have been streaking as of late. They've kind of figured it out under Doc Rivers after winning. After winning the NBA Cup, Giannis and them are kind of finding their stride. And so it's another opportunity against a good Eastern Conference team to see where we measure up before we take on San Antonio again on Monday night. So, Drew, we've got 2 tests before a tune-up game. Any thoughts about the Bucks and Spurs coming up?
Yeah, I'm not interested in seeing the Spurs again. I feel, the Spurs and Rockets, I feel like we've played them nonstop. It's like a rotating, it's like pool play at this point with the Spurs and Rockets. We played them both 3 times, I feel like, in the last 3 weeks. So yeah, I mean, that is what it is. I won't touch it. But Milwaukee is a much different team now than when we played them early in the season. Early in the season, it was like, oh, is Doc Rivers going to survive the first 20 games of the year?
Yeah.
They've turned it around. Giannis is playing again at an MVP level. They're playing really, really well. It's interesting. I don't know Chris Middleton's contract situation, but he's obviously coming up in a lot of talks. And so as that game is, the trade deadline is a week from today. And so it's curious, are we going to see Chris Middleton? Is this for real? Are they going to kind of pump the brakes on him and try to, if they're really game about trading him, do we even see Chris Middleton?
Yeah, and that's a great point. We've got the trade deadline coming up. We'll have a ton of trade talk on our show on Tuesday. We'll be live with you on the trade deadline. Be prepared for an extended show that day. There may be a little bit longer of the $2 that day as we talk through trades as they're happening, because we'll go right up to the deadline's actual time cutoff. So we're excited to see what the Grizzlies do over the course of the next few days. Y'all do anything this weekend? Anything fun?
So we are having a dinner for my dad tomorrow night. Just a family dinner. He is retiring. And so just this little small dinner at a restaurant in Corinth is just too much for him. Like, he's like, it's too much celebration. But I'm excited for it. We're going to just get together and eat dinner, celebrate dad and his retirement. And then, hopefully have a nice, easy Saturday and Sunday. What about you?
I love that. Yeah, same, man. I had a late night last night. My old tail saw 1 a.m. for one of the few times in my entire life. Definitely recently. I went to Starkville and watched Mississippi State lose a heartbreaker to Alabama. at the Hump. Shout out to my buddy David Adams for the ticket. We were 6th row, had club level access. It was a great experience, but your boy is tired. And so my tail still hadn't drug back in the front door from when I got in last night. So this weekend, I'm going to hang out with Maggie. We're going to have some dates and hang out and do nothing. Plan to read some books, maybe do a little puzzle, and just have a down weekend. But that's going to do it for our show today. Again, BK, man, cannot say thank you enough. An awesome time, great conversation. Just love getting to know like him and then understanding what it looks like from somebody who's so close to the team and used to play for the team, what his thoughts are. Just couldn't have asked for a better guest and better guy, man. Really appreciate BK. Also appreciate, Bueno, that I did break through the puberty voice as my voice came back from all that hooting and hollering I did last night till the wee hours of the morning. I'm grateful that I can talk somewhat okay now.
Yeah, and I'm just furious that my Wi-Fi went out in the middle of that show. I mean, of all shows, you know, like at least Rusty wasn't on his own, I guess, you know.
Yeah, y'all could have just had me, but thankfully BK could answer some questions. Y'all didn't have to listen to me yammer on for sure.
Yeah, so I'm an engineer. I work for the local power company. We provide the wireless internet that I use. And so like I'm going to have a word with somebody when we get off of here. So
somebody might get fired this week.
Came back quickly.
Tippah County Electric. But remember, you got to take everything you hear with a grain of salt because there are no refunds for what you hear on the $2 Sports Show.
That's right. Because with the $2 Sports Show, you get occasional interviews with former NBA players and you also get what you pay for. Have a good weekend, everybody. Go Grizzlies.
Go Grizz.
Thank you for listening to the $2 Sports Show. If you enjoyed this episode, leave a rating and a review wherever you download your podcasts. Also, like and subscribe to Bluff City Media's YouTube page. For comprehensive coverage of all things Memphis sports, head over to www.bluffcitymedia.co and find out how you can become an insider. We will see you back here next time.